Okay, we're re-recording this because my audio died in the last one. So today we are talking about a bill that I think would be interesting to anyone that lives in the state of California and anyone that has children in any state. We've seen many times where bills in California, laws in California, are the model for how many other states choose to do their business when it comes to gun control. This is something that people in Washington are experiencing right now. If you live in Washington, I highly recommend you stay informed about what's going on. There is a magazine ban that passed in the Senate that potentially could eventually get passed into law. Fight it, stop it, don't let Washington turn into California light. Now, so this bill that we're talking about today is SB 906. This was introduced by Senator Portantino. Don't really know how to say that. SB 906. Now, this is an interesting bill. The way that they word bills like these and the way that they discuss these sorts of laws, they usually try to frame it in a way where anybody opposing it would have to sound insane, right? So we saw this with the magazine ban and with the ammo background check law that was voted on by the state. That was worded as the Safety for All Act, I believe. Well, SB 906, the title of it is this: School Safety, Mass Casualty Threats, and Firearm Disclosure. To oppose this, you would have to oppose school safety and oppose the stopping of mass casualty threats. That's how they're going to try to word it, to frame it as if you're the crazy person here and you're totally unreasonable. Real quick though, I do want to say thank you to today's sponsor. It is Premier Body Armor. Premier Body Armor makes a wide variety of soft and hard body armor. Many of it is worked in ways that you can carry with you every day. Made a little YouTube short talking about how I have body armor plates that are soft armor that'll stop any handgun round that fit in your backpack of any normal size. They also have this. This is a laptop case that I actually really like. I'm very happy that they sent this out to me. This is probably one of the things that I use most often. Throw this in any backpack with my laptop and this will stop a bullet. Your laptop might not be safe if it takes the bullet, but you will. Thank you, Premier Body Armor. Use the link down in the description. Get you 10% off with code Reno May. So let's talk about the big thing that a lot of people are talking about. And the first thing that I want to mention is that through skimming this bill, as of right now, I don't actually see any penalties for not complying with this law. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it. Maybe they add it in after I record this video because bills often change. Many times when I've made videos talking about various gun control in the state of California, things end up changing. So if things are different, as I've linked it down in the description, the link to this bill, if things are different from what I'm saying right now, it's because things have changed. So the big part that people are concerned about is the fact that this law would require every parent or guardian to disclose to the school yearly if there are firearms in the home, how are those specific firearms stored, and what kind of access does the child that is going to the school have to them. This is pretty interesting because many people would see this as a breach of privacy, and I'm going to kind of discuss why I think this would be a bad thing. Just in my perspective, I would love to hear if you have any differing opinions or if you just kind of agree with me. So let's say that you do put on this form and you say, hey, I own this many guns. You say, hey, here's how they're stored. Maybe they're stored completely legally, completely by the books, nothing wrong with it, but one of these teachers, now me personally, I can only speak from my experiences, I have had very, how would you say, activist teachers at every level of schooling that I've had, really. High school and college, even middle school, I had teachers that were trying to use their position of power to get you to think certain ways and not actually just educate you. They were trying to make more people like them. So I would be uncomfortable answering these kinds of questions to the school, knowing that this opens up a potential avenue for kids to be treated differently or parents to be treated differently by school administrators, because when you fill out these forms, I'm not confident in the security of these forms. I'm not confident that there won't be people who won't treat you different because they know that you have firearms. Firearms ownership for many people is a very touchy subject. For me, obviously, you can't Google my name without my gun stuff coming up. So everybody that I know knows that I have guns. But for many people, They might own a handgun for personal protection and probably don't want everyone to know about that. I don't think that the school knowing whether or not you have a firearm should change how they respond to truly credible threats. We've seen in many instances when there have been mass casualty events, I'm trying to avoid saying the words because YouTube will demonetize me. When there's been mass casualty events at schools, it's a variety of ways that these people are accessing the firearms. Many times it is from the parents, but many times it's through illegal means. Many times it's through other violent crimes that had to occur prior to that mass casualty event. So whether or not someone is making a truly credible, tangible threat to the school or to any person, I don't think that it should really matter whether or not the parents have a firearm. If someone is truly making a credible threat, or what seems or is perceived to be a truly credible threat, that seems like it should be acted on as if the threat is credible, regardless of whether or not you as a parent happen to own a gun. They're trying to solve this problem from the side of the guns, from the side of the tools, instead of maybe we provide services to kids that are troubled. Maybe we try to give these kids a better foundation to not do these things in the first place. I'm not saying that I have the answers, but I can assure you that teachers knowing what kind of guns I own isn't the answer. So in addition to this, like I mentioned, there's no penalties as of right now from what I can see that would actually make it reason for people to comply with this kind of law. I can see that changing in the future. I can see them adding in penalties. But as of right now, I don't really think that this is going to be well supported. I think many people really value their privacy. There are some things that it also would require, and I'm not necessarily opposed to those. So one of the things is that in addition to the annual notification, the local agency may include information relating to the safe storage of firearms on the disclosure form. So I don't necessarily have a problem with people being educated or just given information on how to securely store their firearms. Maybe not everybody is aware that you can go to most police stations and get free cable locks. Maybe everyone doesn't know that. But when you buy a firearm in the state of California, you have to get a firearm safety certificate, which discusses a whole lot of things like safe storage and ownership of a firearm. But I don't necessarily have a problem with people being informed on how to prevent unintended access to their firearms. That's one part of this bill that I don't necessarily have an issue with. If I'm wrong, maybe I'm just looking at this the wrong way, feel free to let me know down in the comments. If you're respectful, I really always appreciate good discourse. I like fucking around in the comments sometimes. Sometimes I get a little sassy, but that's a different thing. This is a serious issue. In addition to that, it opens up the school to go through and search the kids' property while on school campus. So they can go through and search their backpacks if they believe that there's any, observes any threat or perceived threat of an incident of mass casualties at a school. Some of the things that it describes could be things that we've seen in the news before. Remember the kid that bit a Pop-Tart into the shape of the gun and then was suspended? Things like drawing a firearm or having social media depicting a firearm, maybe if a kid's into airsoft, things like that can be seen as a threat and would be cause for your kid to have their shit gone through in a very public manner. Maybe it won't be in a public manner, but every time that I was in school and someone had their stuff searched through, it wasn't exactly subtle. So you're going to force these kids to be subjected to this. Now, if there's truly an actual, tangible, credible threat, that's very different than just a perceived threat, especially in the era that we are now, where people just wearing shirts with guns on them, chewing a Pop-Tart in the shape of a gun, holding a stick and pretending it's a gun and like they're army men as kids. In the era of things like that being a suspendable offense, in an era where the teaching institutions are mostly run by more left-leaning people, and we know exactly what that means when it comes to guns, I'm not exactly too fond of this. There are some things in here, but again, this is focusing on the tool, not the cause of the violent crime. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like I said, I'm going to have this linked down in the description, so if you want to read it for yourself, stay updated, share this link, share this video with people. Let me know what you think. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.